What is going on, everyone? My name is Andy. Welcome back to another FPL video. In this one, it's team selection time ahead of game week 9. So as always, I'm going to go through how I did in game week 8 quickly. Then we're going to look ahead to game week 9. There's some interesting transfer decisions to be made over the next couple of weeks, which I'm going to go through, as well as captaincy this week, because I know Lukaku versus Salah is quite big. So I'm going to talk about that briefly in this one as well. So if you do enjoy it, give it a like, hit that subscribe button if you're new, and let's jump into it. So my game week 8 was a lot like other people's, right? My defense did well, Salah captain did well, everything else was pretty poor. So no other midfielders got me anything. My forward line, 4 points from Antonio, Lukaku and Jimenez, is just awful, right? Not happy with that at all. And obviously Jimenez blocks Livramento because he came off the bench in like the 88th minute, which I was really... I wasn't annoyed about or shocked about. I knew he would come on, but because I knew he would come on, I wanted him to come on early, and he just waited and waited and waited, and then he finally came on in the 88th minute. So he blocked Livramento, and I think that was the difference between my score and a few others. Like most people I've seen that got like 60, 62, 64 points have mostly had Livramento off the bench. So I haven't done that badly. 57 points. I've fallen from 10,300 and something to 13.5k. So it's still not bad at all. Like I'm super happy to be this high at this stage in the season. What I found last year when I got up to this kind of rank, because a lot of the times in the past I've got to this rank before, but not until like right near the end of the season, which is obviously where you want to be, right? You want to get your best rank in game week 38. But last year I was up quite high quite early as well, and your rank just kind of fluctuates a little bit, but not too heavy, like up or down. So next week, even if I go up, it'll probably be like 9k or 10k or something like that. That's something you got to just get used to when you're this high in the rank. So it's not a bad thing at all, but I don't expect too many massive rank movements. If I do get one, hopefully it's up and not down, but we'll see what happens, right? So the defense came in really nice. Obviously getting Laporte to start over DS was a big stroke of luck, because when I saw that Stones was probably starting, I really thought it was Laporte that might miss out. We'll talk about him a little bit more in a minute. Ramsdale only with a 2-pointer. I gotta be honest, I'm not too happy with him, and I do wonder if keeping Sanchez was probably the play, but again, I'll talk about that in just a second. So overall, a mediocre game week 8. 57 points is fine. It's nothing special. It's nothing awful either. A slight red arrow, but when you're going to get a red arrow, you want a small one, right? So overall, pretty happy with it. A little bit frustrating with Saka, because obviously he basically got volleyed off the pitch by MacArthur and didn't get anything. Not that he necessarily would have got anything in the second half, but to come off with 0 points I thought was a little bit unlucky. Overall, decent. Let's move on to game week 9. So going into game week 9, I got one free transfer. As I talk through the players, I'll go through where I might possibly use that, or where I could use that as well, and what my strategy is for kind of next week too. So we'll do some tinkering towards the end as well. Starting off with the defence, we've got Ramsdale in goal. Now, I always say I'm never going to make a goalkeeper transfer, but I have not considered it for this week, but I've put at least a little bit of a seed in my brain that at some point I might take Ramsdale out if I've got the luxury of not having to make any other transfer in a week, and I can get away with a goalkeeper transfer. But other than that, I just don't think I'm going to make it at any point. I just think I may have made a mistake when I wildcarded to get Ramsdale. And I don't think it's like an awful mistake. I don't think it's really bad, and that if you've got him, you should be panicking or anything like that. And he could well outscore someone like Sanchez. And the reality is, for a goalkeeper position at like 4.5, 4.6 million, the amount you can be punished by having Ramsdale over Sanchez is probably not that much. But as I said before, we're not going to want to make a goalkeeper transfer until the next wildcard. So the fact that Ramsdale's got some better short-term fixtures doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things. It might matter in the short term, but it'll probably equal out over the long term. So I don't know. I just think the Brighton defence is looking better again than the Arsenal defence. It was better last season as well. The only kind of saving grace, I suppose, is Arsenal did play with kind of 5 attackers against Palace. I would expect them to kind of take one of them out in most games. And Arteta is quite a cautious manager. I feel like, of course, he wants to play attacking football, but I feel like he values clean sheets quite a lot as a manager. I mean, I guess all managers do. Maybe I'm talking rubbish. He just feels like a cautious manager. What do you think, Arsenal fans? Let me know. So I'm not panicking about Ramsdale, but for once, I am thinking I could at some point make a goalkeeper change, but it won't be this week. Azpilicueta obviously picks himself this week. I mean, would I rather have Chilwell? Yes, I would. And I think Chilwell owners, right, if he starts in the Champions League, are going to be panicking. But there's no reason he can't start Premier League, then Champions League, and then start in the Premier League again. He is first choice now. I don't think that's really up for debate. I think most Chelsea fans would agree that Chilwell is first choice. So even if he starts, he could play again. But with Azpilicueta, look, I don't want to say that any player is completely nailed on, but he's about as good as it gets, right? So I'm expecting him to start. Should be a good chance of a clean sheet. Maybe, I don't think he's going to play right wing back again. I think Reece James will play there. So attack and returns aren't looking great, but it'd be nice if he could just get a bonus point or two as well. I don't know. I guess I'll just accept the clean sheet. With Trent, look, I have considered benching him. I know you never bench like Trent. He's so good attacking, so good in defence. I get it. But I do think Man United scoring this one. I know like people are going on about how bad Man United have been, and I get it, right? They've been awful. But this is the kind of game, like this run of games now, where it's a bit more difficult, where I'm not saying they'll turn it around, but they'll dig in. They're going to play defensive. Fred and McTominay are almost certainly both going to play, and then Solskjaer's going to have to make a decision on whether to play Pogba on the left or whether to play Rashford there. I think he's going to play Rashford there because we saw, I think it was a couple of seasons ago now, how well he did against Trent. So I wouldn't be surprised if it's Fred McTominay and no Pogba in the team. And look, Maguire was obviously poor against Leicester. Varane's probably going to be missing again, but Maguire and Lindelof, could they pull it out of the bag for this one? It's difficult, I know, but I think regardless of how many Liverpool score, I think Man United will score. So then you're relying on Trent's attacking returns, which aren't that bad, but is he going to get as far forward as he does in a normal match against Shaw and possibly Rashford? Who knows, right? So I think if you're ever going to bench him, then games against Man United away, Chelsea away, Man City away, the ones you can do it. But it does feel a bit too clever, especially when I can't be 100% confident that the report starts. I don't think he would come off the bench, but you never know. And obviously, Livramento is great. I don't mind having to play him this week, but Trent is Trent. So he's staying. And Cancelo, look, again, everybody's worried because he's started in the Champions League, but he's first choice right now, I think. He's just that good. A lot of people are saying that he's one of the best fullbacks in the world right now. It's Man City players. You can't buy them and then be panicking every single time they start in the Champions League. Like, we want them to start in the Champions League to show that they're first choice, but we also want them to not play because we want them to be rested for the next game. If I had Cancelo, I wouldn't be panicking. He's playing brilliant right now. Pep knows that. Yes, Zinchenko could come in and Walker could play on the right, but Zinchenko could come in and Cancelo could play on the right. You just don't know how it's going to work. So if he doesn't play, I've got Laporte on the bench. If he doesn't play, I've got Livramento. And if he doesn't play, well, who cares? It's probably going to be a bad week anyway. So I'm pretty happy with the midfield. I think the only thing that's missing is maybe a Man City midfielder. I definitely would go for Phil Foden. I said that last week. Grealish obviously again, I have to just saying, like, don't second guess the team. I'm about to second guess it. But obviously Foden came off early, so did De Bruyne. And that kind of tells me that maybe they want to rest him for the next game, whereas Grealish played 90. So I wouldn't, like, if I was bringing someone in now, like, if I had Grealish, I wouldn't take him out, but I wouldn't buy him either. And Foden would be the one to go for. Obviously, De Bruyne would be lovely, but it's very hard to fit him in because of his price. So Foden's where I want to go. Right now, I don't have the cash to do it, and I'm certainly not taking a hit this week. The squad is just too good. But I am considering taking Saka out for Foden in maybe game week 10. So I'll talk about that in a sec. This week, obviously, Saka has got a knock. I don't know whether he's going to be out. Apparently, he was limping after the game. I don't know if it's a dead leg or something worse. I'm just not sure. We haven't had the news as far as I've seen. But obviously, we will have a press conference on Thursday, or maybe, Thursday probably, for Arteta, because they're playing on Friday night. Now, in some ways, that's good, because Arteta will give us an update. But also, he hasn't had long to recover. So Arteta might not give us a good update. I don't think I'm going to take Saka out this week, because like I said, I don't have the money to go up to Foden. And realistically, if I was going to sell him, I'd want Rafinha and Mbeumo, who I've already got in my team. So there's not really anyone else I want to go for. I don't want to go for Everton midfielders or anyone like that. I don't want to bring Gallagher in. I'm just not that interested in those players. So he'll probably stay, because if he doesn't play, again, I've got Laporte and Livramento on my bench. And I'm already saying that about Cancelo. Now I'm saying it about Saka. I might have to use my bench, but that's one of the good things about having a good squad. So not worried about Saka. If he's fit, I'm definitely going to play him this week anyway. Mbeumo, I think, is a great time to jump on. Leicester at home is not necessarily the most ideal fixture, but it's not awful either. Then they got a really nice run. Obviously, Salah is in the team. He's going nowhere. He's not my captain as it stands. I'm going to go for Lukaku. And Rafinha, hopefully he's back and ready after the international break shenanigans. So I think the midfield's looking good. I'll do some tinkering at the end to show you how I'm thinking about getting Foden in. But right now, I just think I'm going to keep the midfield as it is and probably not captain Salah. Okay, so the forwards are in, right? Let's just talk about Lukaku, because I feel like that's what I've done all week, and I'm sure we're going to do it for the rest of the week. I love making FPL videos because you get loads of different opinions from people, and I feel like I'm having to work so hard this week to kind of convince people that Lukaku versus Norwich at home is a really good option, right? Maybe you disagree. Maybe you've changed your captaincy. Maybe you were never going to captain Lukaku anyway. But right now, he is my captain. Now, I will say, last season, I picked my captains mostly in advance and I stuck with them no matter what happened. I do have slight doubts in my mind because Tuchel has mentioned that he's mentally tired. He said the same thing about Chilwell early on in the season when Chilwell wasn't playing. So Lukaku could be due a rest. And if he plays in the Champions League, then I will have some slight doubts about him starting versus Norwich. I don't think it means he's definitely out, especially when they got Carabao Cup not long after that. But there is a potential for him to miss a game soon. It could be the Champions League and Carabao Cup. It could be Champions League and the Premier League. And I know people will say, why would he miss 2 games in a row? But it is possible. It could happen. But I'm not too worried about it right now. So he is my captain. And I'll tell you why. Because I just don't use form in the same way that a lot of you probably do. So for a lot of people, they'll see that Lukaku hasn't scored for 4 games, therefore he's out of form. But I always just say, ask yourself, what does that mean? When is he back in form? Does he have to score 1 goal, then he's back in form? Does he have to get 1 assist and then he's back in form? Does he have to get 2 goals in this game to be back in form? What is the metric for that? Look at Harry Kane. Everyone was saying he's out of form. Boom, he has Newcastle away and suddenly he's back in form. Harry is back. I saw it all over Twitter. The way I use form, right, this is how I do it, is I look at form over a long time. So do I know that Lukaku is a great goal scorer? Yes. Are his stats so far this season good? Yes. Were they good last season as well? Yes. So he's got pedigree. Does he then also have the fixture? Yes, he does. So for me, there's almost, apart from that slight worry over what Tuchel said in his press conference yesterday, which I'll talk about a little bit more tomorrow, go through the comments and stuff, I don't really have too many doubts. He's a great player with a great fixture. It's not about form over the last 1, 2, 3, 4. I mean, if you're doing 4 games, 2 of those games included Spurs and Man City. So does it even really matter? So I don't use form like that. I just don't really buy into it. At some point, a player's going to score again. It's not like Lukaku's out of form and then he's suddenly back in form because he scored. What if he scored a scrappy goal against Brentford? Ball gets crossed in, it hits him on the back. He knows nothing about it. It goes in. Does that mean he's in form? Or does he have to score a good goal? There's just what is the metric for form? So I don't usually follow it. Norwich at home, great fixture. He's going to be my captain. Simple as that. Unless I think he's going to miss out, in which case I might go to Salah. But right now, he's the captain. Jimenez going nowhere. Leeds away, good fixture. Definitely keeping him in. Antonio is an interesting one. I do see myself getting rid of Antonio soon. Again, people saying he's out of form. I think he's only got 1 goal in the last 4 or something like that. But I'm not too worried about him. Spurs at home is not an awful fixture. Then it's Villa away. I do have a plan to maybe get rid of him, which I'll talk about in just a second. But this week I'm probably not going to do it. I just think I've got 1 free transfer. I could do sideways moves, Azpilicueta to Chilwell or something like that. I could do Saka to another 6 million-ish midfielder. But I don't think that's really what I want to do. I need to save the transfer and use it next week instead. Get myself some money. Let me show you how I'm going to do that. Okay, so just a quick bit of tinkering, right? This isn't going to take very long. But obviously, Antonio, like I said, he's only scored 1 goal in the last 4, right? So people are worried about him. I mean, this happens, right? Even the best players go through some kind of goal drought at times, if you can call 1 in 4 a drought. Apart from maybe Salah, because he's just that good, right? Best player in the league. So what I'm thinking about is getting a Man City midfielder in. Now, straight away, I know that then I'd have 3 Man City players. An attacker who I can't guarantee is nailed. Laporte definitely isn't nailed. And obviously Cancelo is going to miss games at times as well. So as long as it doesn't happen that all 3 players miss out in the same game week, I should be okay. And I don't really want to get rid of Saka because in game week 11 he's got Watford at home. But I just think getting in a Man City midfielder in game week 10 possibly outscores over this run. It's tricky because I think when he's fit, he is absolutely nailed. And a lot of the times he's going to go and play over on the right when Pepe's not playing. So he's got good fixtures. So I'm not desperate to get rid of him. And I think this is one reason why I really need to save the transfer this week because I'm just not that sure. And early on in the season, I did that Ben Rama to Sarr move, if you remember. And I felt like I could do that because I had the wild card in the back pocket. So if things went wrong, I could wildcard out of it. And things did kind of go wrong after that point. Whereas now I have to be a little bit more cautious with my aggressive moves. So I don't really see too much this week to do. So to get him in, or to get a Man City midfielder in, then Saka to Foden is probably what I would do. I don't think I'm looking to get rid of Rafinha. And Mbeumo is just so cheap that I don't really want to get rid of him either. He also has good fixtures, better numbers, underlying numbers than Saka as well. And obviously he's playing up front. So Mbeumo and Rafinha are kind of non-negotiable for me unless they get injured. So Saka up to Foden, he would be the one that I would go for. Look, Bernardo Silva, I've kind of not written off as a player, but as an FPL option. And so far, he's the top scorer FPL points-wise in midfield. And he's also playing really well. but I've still not got too much interest with him. Obviously, Gundogan's on the watch list, but he didn't start again last night in the Champions League, so I think that would probably put me off enough, and Foden just looks good. So I've got to make up 1.4 million. Now, the easiest way for me to do that, or like the most realistic way, is Antonio out for Tony. So that is one move that I'm considering. Now, I'm a realistic person. I've got 0 in the bank. There's almost no way I get through this deadline and all the way up to the next deadline with that money still in place. Like Foden will probably go up in price, or Tony could go up, or someone might fall in price. I don't know. I haven't checked, but it's very unlikely I'll get to next week and still be able to make this move. So I would be willing to possibly take a hit. So remove Laporte. So essentially I'd have Azpilicueta, Trent and Cancelo playing every single week, and then I'd have the bench of Livramento plus whoever I bring in. I'll be honest, I haven't really looked at who that would be. Possibly Tierney at Arsenal, to be honest, even though I've just said about Ramsdale. Would I really want to double up? I guess I probably wouldn't. But someone else for 5.5 or less. Obviously, I'd have to make some money because I don't think I'm going to be able to afford Foden and Tony. So I would have to go someone a bit cheaper. I don't know who that is right now. I'll figure that out next week. But that is one option that I'm leaving open. If I get through the deadline, I could make an early move next week, possibly. It would be risky, but I could do that if the money is still that tight. Like if I can make that move for free, then I might do it. Now, obviously, Antonio out is going to be a big concern for a lot of people, but I just think the fixtures are there to warrant it. Like Chelsea, Brighton isn't even that easy. Neither's Wolves away. Like Brighton at home and Wolves away are not bad, don't get me wrong, but they are kind of outside of the normal best defences. They are also pretty good as well. Man City away, Liverpool at home. Like, these just aren't fantastic fixtures. Antonio is so good that you could definitely keep him, but I just feel Tony and Foden over Saka and Antonio for a few weeks could be decent. Like, I just really like the look of Tony, so that's what I'm considering. But at the same time, I could get to Game Week 10 and have a different, change of heart, change of opinion, change of thought process, and that's what 2 free transfers gives you in flexibility. The interesting thing is, if I don't go for Foden, I don't really have a transfer to make next week, but sometimes that's not a bad position to be in, right? If your team's that good, maybe then I do the Azpilicueta to Chilwell move. I don't know, but I'm leaving my options open. But Foden is definitely in my thinking. I just don't really want to take a hit to get rid of Antonio. That's the thing. So if the money's not there, I will have to take that hit. I just don't have a better way to do it. I want to keep Jimenez. I want to keep Lukaku as well. So we'll see. We'll see what next week. But let me know what you think about that transfer plan. So let me know what you think about that team for this week. Let me know what you think about the captaincy, my transfer thoughts for Foden next week. Let me know in the comments below. Give it a like if you enjoyed it, and hit that subscribe button if you're new around here. If you haven't checked out Patreon as well, there's a link to that in the description below if you want to support the channel even further. Otherwise, I'll be back tomorrow with the Game Week preview. Lots to talk about in that one. I'm going to go through Decore replacements, the latest news on like Rudiger, the kind of thoughts from Tuchel around Lukaku as well. There's going to be plenty to look at, so I'm going to do that tomorrow. Otherwise, thank you for watching. Hit that like button, hit subscribe, and I'll see you again soon.